Single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G. Show.
Hey, Wednesday afternoon matinee, special edition Peter G. Show, right here. Why am I doing this on a Wednesday afternoon? I'll tell you. I got a call a few weeks ago to be on the nationally syndicated Cathy Nut radio show. And we talked about it, and I said, okay, I'll do it. I love being a guest. Just fire away, ask the questions, but be careful what you wish for. And then I thought about it, and I said, hey, wouldn't that be kind of cool if I did a show while doing her show, while doing my show, and sure enough, I said, yeah, let's just do it. Something different. Out of the blue. This is not your typical Peter G. show. Whatever that means. But in just a few short minutes, I'm going to be dialing into her, and we're going to be behind the scenes waiting to go on. Then we'll be listening to her show, because she's on a radio show. Again, the Cathy Nut Show. It's on in about 7 minutes. And then I'm just going to wait until she gets me on the line and see what she's got to say. And, you know, from there we go. But I just thought it'd be kind of interesting. I thought you might enjoy it. I think it might be fun. And I said, hey, let's just put it out there. What the hell? What's another good show? Because I was not going to do it. I wasn't going to do it for Vic. I go, Peter, why do you want to keep on piling more work on top of work? But again, this is what I do. I love it. I'm happy doing it, and I'm happy to bring it to you. And on top of that, you might get to hear things differently than, from the perspective that I bring it, because I'm usually the one asking the questions. This time I'll be the one answering the questions. So hope you all buckle up and give us a second here, and we're going to do this so we can have some fun. But stay tuned here. It's kind of not going to be of the norm. In the meantime, enjoy some chill music. You know what I mean? And it's for all the, I was going to say for all the housewives, but, nowadays everybody's kind of home, so there's really no, not everybody's home, but you know what I mean. Everybody's chilling, having to do what they can. Not as many people are commuting to work. A lot of people are working from home. I figure, all right, this might work out actually pretty good. But again, it's all about perspective. And we're just going to sit back and I'm going to call in. We'll take it in, see what's going on. I'm not going to talk anything about anything else besides, hey, in just a few short minutes, I'm going to be on the Artist First Network Cathy Nut Radio Show. We'll find out why she wanted me on. It's all good, though. Happy to be here. I like being a guest. I do. I don't know. It's just a different perspective. I mean, I get to, a lot of times I'll throw out a lot of the thoughts that I want to, tell you, but this time she'll, I don't know where she's going to go with it. It's a very vast, spectrum on what you can ask me. And I told her, I said, just fire away. Because she said, what do you want to talk about? I said, you decide. It's your show. So we'll see what she's got. And 2 or 3 more minutes, and then I'm going to dial in. And then we'll hang in the background until she's ready for me. I know she's got to open up her show and all that. So, again, you get to see the not so fascinating stuff. I mean, it's just different behind the scenes. I mean, even though she's across the country, she's over on the East Coast, and so I'll be calling in to her producer, and then they'll just put me on hold until they're ready for me. I mean, I know she's got to open up the show just like I do. Maybe she's faster at it than I am, because I always get a million things I want to talk about and always run late. But she's on a 1 hour, that's it, 1 hour show. She's got people pushing the clock, as opposed to me, who just, we keep going over because I can. Hope it's warming up in some parts of the country for y'all, all of you. Where it's Southern California, not so bad. Pay for it, but not so bad. It's got its ups and downs, that's for sure. Depends how you look at it. All right, I'm going to call in and we'll see what's going on. So hang in there.
Hello, and welcome to Unlimited Conferencing. Please enter your PIN, followed by the pound sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are 2 participants in the conference.
All right, 2 participants in the conference.
Hi, is this Peter?
Hey, it's Peter.
It's Cathy.
Hey, Cathy.
Hi.
I didn't know I'd be talking to you. So you're just firing up?
Yes, I just got on here, and Scott will join us in a second. He's probably finishing up the show right before us. But quickly, how do I pronounce your last name?
Peter G.
Just let me leave Peter G. Okay.
There you go. And
also,
just letting you know you're live right now. So.
We're already live.
Oh, yeah, we're behind the scenes.
All right, well, you said anything goes. Are you Italian? What's your heritage?
I'm Greek.
Greek. Okay, I thought Greek. I looked you up on Google, and so I thought Greek. Okay, this is the number 1 question.
Yeah.
All my friends have asked me already. Is Peter G eligible? Is he an eligible bachelor?
Yes, Peter G is an eligible bachelor.
Oh, right answer. That's
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the 3 top questions that I had for you before we get started with Scott here. So this is going to be fun. I'm glad you're going live. Are you live on Facebook right now?
We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube, and then it'll be uploaded to LinkedIn because for some reason I still can't get live to LinkedIn, but we are live. I came on about 5 minutes before I dialed you in to prep everybody to tell them why I'm on live, that I'm going to be featured on your show, and here we are.
This is so fun. I just appreciate you coming on the show today because I've listened to so many of your shows that you have already, and I mean, you have a lot to say. You got a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah, I've been told.
Guys.
I've been told I don't shut up. Yeah. Hey.
Hey, this is Z-Man. Sober at the moment, but we're gonna have a good show here. Peter, your mic is very powerful. You're pegging the needle. Is there any way we can cut down the gain on your mic a little bit?
Those are my lungs, buddy. Those are okay. Yeah, we can cut you back. How's that?
It's because the difference between you and Cathy is huge. We can level it out a little bit, but how about just putting some distance between you and the mic?
Yeah, I can do that.
It is right up at the top there.
Still?
That will help level out the volumes a lot.
Still? We go. How we go? Good. Better. That is better. Yes. All right. I'll keep away. I usually kind of lean into it, but we'll be all right.
Well,
that sounds good to me too.
You can just. Are you using a control board?
I am. I'm sending a signal out live also to my show. We are simulcasting right now, just so you know.
Well, I was saying that if you had a slider on your mic, you could just back it down.
Yeah, I'll back it down. I'll back it down. Not a problem.
That would solve the issue.
It's down.
All right, and
better.
If for any reason we would lose the connection with you, Peter, you just have to reconnect.
Okay. I'll reconnect.
We won't be able to call you back.
Sure, no problem.
All right, guys, we can get going in about a minute. Cathy, is there anything I need to know?
Well, I was just going to tell you that Peter was also a musician also, and
cool.
Scott was a musician for 40 years.
There you go. That'll teach us.
Yeah.
Y'all have a lot in common.
Scott, are our levels
right.
The levels are okay now, just so I know?
It's certainly better, yes.
Okay, there you go.
Sounds good to me, too.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it balances. You guys are about equal, and that's what we're trying for.
All right, yeah, I got
Alrighty.
you. All right.
Let's take about 30 seconds. We'll be underway.
I'm in.
Thank you, Scott.
Good luck.
Yeah, Scott. Yeah, he'll as soon as he gets ready, he will start a little music, and then he'll introduce me, and then you'll have to listen to me talk about you for just a couple of minutes, and we'll get right on into the most important questions. I actually asked several of my girlfriends what their questions might be for you, and a lot of them are, of course, about dating and also about your experience with divorce. And so I thought I'd ask a couple of those questions for them because it's always good to hear what the man has to say.
I tell you, just fire away, whatever you want. I'm open book.
You're open book. I love it.
Yep.
Okay, we're getting ready to get started here.
All right. See you in a few.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain calm and in your seats until the show comes to a complete stop. It's time for the Cathy Nut Show on the Artist First Radio Network. All past shows are available in podcast form. Pick them up at artistfirst.com. And now, somewhere from the great USA, I think Arkansas, it's your host, Cathy Nut.
Yes. Hi, everybody. It is Cathy, and I am in the great state of Arkansas. And last week we had 1 degree and 8 to 12 inches of snow on the ground. But today we're at a warm 65 degrees, and it's been such a nice fall out. Last week I had to stay home for 8 days straight, but it was kind of nice. But it was beautiful. It's always beautiful to see a lot of snow, but I'm always happy to see it go. I have the coolest guy on today, and I want to tell you that he does a live show on Facebook. It's also on YouTube. He'll tell us more about that. But by the way, he's on live right now, the Peter G Show, on his YouTube channel and on Facebook. So if you want to tune in to Peter G, you can see him live with this show. And also, I asked him some off market questions, but they were actually live, so y'all might have already heard. Peter goes by Peter G. He used to be a musician for many years. He traveled with Toto. My friend Beverly in Jonesboro met him in Vegas with the group when they were traveling with Toto and performing. So he has changed careers tremendously. He's going to tell us all about that. I did find out he is definitely a very, very handsome, eligible bachelor. My friend said, "Is he eligible?" And I said, "I don't know, but I'll find out." But he's a very handsome, eligible bachelor in LA. I think he is super, has a wonderful personality. I've watched several of his Facebook posts, and they're just so informative. He seems to be a very sincere guy, has a lot of information. I actually reached out to several of my girlfriends and told them to look him up, and we had some fun questions for him today. He swears that everything is okay to ask, and we're going to find that out today. And he has a wonderful voice, a wonderful show. I want to promote everything that he does today because I think he has a wonderful purpose. So, Peter, say hi. Tell us about yourself and your purpose.
Hi, Cathy. How are you?
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question real quick first, and then you can ask all the questions you want. When's the last time you got your eyes checked? Maybe from a distance, I'm looking pretty good, but I'm telling you, there's not a whole lot to work with right here.
Well, that's not what my girlfriends are talking about. So,
yeah, distance is good.
Well, just take it and just go with it.
I will.
The handsome, eligible bachelor.
There's many out there.
I honestly don't know the age, but I'm guessing, I don't know. You can say if you want, but doesn't matter.
I just had a birthday 3 days ago. I just had a birthday 3 days ago. 29's good.
You did? I missed your birthday. I hope you had a good one.
I was working. I did the show. It was on Sunday, and I said, you know what? Show must go on. Birthdays I have plenty of, and hopefully, God willing, have plenty more to go.
That was a great show, too. I was so glad you did that because it was great. That's how I knew I missed your birthday, because I was watching your show.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you have a purpose because you talked to me a little bit about it. And so your career took a big, giant change when you got the divorce. And so I'm going to let you tell us about why that changed so drastically. And what do you feel like your purpose is? Because I know you have one.
I don't know how much time you got, I mean,
we have a whole hour.
A whole hour goes by real quick. I mean, look, I grew up from a child, dreaming of the musician, being a musician. I was a drummer, and I became a decent drummer. I mean, a really good drummer. And then I followed my dreams, left Florida for Los Angeles, and started starting from zero again. And slowly, I mean, I did good. I've, done better than some, but not as good as others. I mean, define how, it doesn't matter how good you are. I've known people that are, mediocre that just happen to hit the jackpot, with, writing the right songs and things like that. But at the end of the day, I was happy. But, then I finally I finally ended up getting married, and I didn't get married until I was 43 years old. So not that I jumped into it, I just always was like, tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. I'm wanting to get my career set, but things changed, and then I had a baby the next year finally because my wife at the time was, looking at me going, she's not that she's not a spring chicken, but women need to do that kind of stuff by a certain age to be safer, and I kind of, said, well, how old am I going to be a father? And I did. I had a child. But unfortunately, through a few years after living under one roof, and even though we dated for many, many years and all that, it takes two to get married and only one to say, I want a divorce. And I'm not going to put blame. I'm not here to talk about that. I don't talk about that kind of stuff on my show. I talk about what happens and how you deal with it after going through that stuff, because it can really wreck you on the after effects. And I ended up going through a divorce. So... Hey, Sparky. So I then had to make some life-changing decisions because all of a sudden I'm doing and going into courts that I don't know anything about, that I don't want to know about and wish I never knew about. But unfortunately, after 3 years of battles and then I stopped my life completely because I had a child involved. And right off the bat, they gave me 50-50 custody, which I believe they should, unless there's circumstances that don't allow, that shouldn't be. But,
Yeah.
I'm a good father. I mean, when that baby came out, my whole mindset changed, and everything revolves around that child. But when you're angry, people do stupid stuff. And I've had, that's why I talk about this stuff, because it's not really right, but it happens all the time. And it can really lead you down a bad road. You can drink yourself to death, because it's like, why is this happening to me? But it happens. And but again, through the grace of God, one way or another, and thank God for a lot of my friends who let me just bleed all over them for God knows how long, to listen to me, to air it out, and you eventually get through it. But that led me to this show, because I found out that everybody has their own hell. And I'm about, the children, and seeing that they don't get wrecked while you guys are fighting about stuff, including myself. You just don't realize the damage you're doing. So here we are, life with Peter G.
Same. And I've been divorced for 6 years, and I feel like that's my purpose, especially that's the reason I started my podcast also, because I felt the same way, that I wanted to help people with the after effect, because I always say that when you go through divorce, I always think that all the stories are the same, basically, and both people are hurt. And I always say that your friends are hurt, your family's hurt, you're both hurt, even people that don't even know you're hurt. So, and my kids were 24, 22, and 20 at the time. And they're still hurt. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so you think that no matter what age kids are, they can handle it. Well, I don't wish divorce on my worst enemy. And I do think that so many people that have a voice that can help others get through it. People are searching for this information, because when you are going through it, you're just lost. And a lot of times, people don't really want to hear all your stuff, so these podcasts and the information getting out there is so powerful. And I do realize that you are a great father, because you turned everything upside down. You moved just a few miles from your daughter, and that's just so wonderful. And if you can keep all that together, it's like the most powerful thing that you can ever do in the child's life. I do know that. I think she's probably going to be driving in the next couple of years, and you'll want to be involved in that. And so you made a great choice, and you'll never regret that one. That's for sure. I want to ask you this. Go ahead.
No, I just want to tell you that I learned from other people. Because, believe it or not, when you're going through this divorce, or you're going through things in your life, whether it's illness or anything like that, you're not the first one to ever go through it. So you tend to hear, that's why sharing stories is so important to me. And I learned, like, even living close to where my house is, where my ex, lives now, that was told because Brian Setzer from the Stray Cats, I heard stories that he was married to 2 different women, and they both lived in Malibu, and he moved right in between both of them so he can get to his kids easier, because that was the most important thing. And that, so I learned from other people's stories, and that's why I figured out, sharing stories really does help a lot of people, because everybody thinks it's only them. It's not. It's very similar, but yet different, if that makes sense.
Very. And also, we know now that at least probably about 50% of the couples are getting divorced. And so,
More.
but at the time it's worse. Yes. And you are searching. You're lost, and it just takes a while to figure it all out. And you just continue. You always say, fake it till you make it, and keep putting the right foot in front of the left. But especially when you have a child that you have got, like our kids were grown, you know, they were out of the house, and they're still hurt. Oh my gosh, they're still hurt today.
Sure.
But when they're home, you got to take care of them. You know, you have custody. You've got a huge responsibility. Well, I feel like the most important thing, one of my girls asked me, she said, my biggest question, so we're going to get into the fun part, because everyone likes to talk about dating. And it's so funny because, you know, when you get a divorce, you think, oh, it sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's your first question. This is going to be a fun one.
Okay.
And now I have my own ideas of what I think men look for in women. You know, I think I have my own ideas.
All right, brace yourself.
But this is, I want to brace myself. And this can be a PG show, or it can be for mature audiences only. So it doesn't matter.
No, I'm all right.
But my friend Gina asked me, she said, okay, what is the most important thing that you look for after you've been married? What do you look for after when you're divorced in the next person that you might even consider to be your next wife?
Peace. That's it. I mean, look.
That's a big word.
Yeah,
isn't
it's a big. Well, you're saying in your next wife. Okay, because here's the thing. Because, you know, dating is one thing. And I got to tell you, and you might call me superficial or this and that, but I'm attracted to attractive women. Just like I would, you know, if anybody says, you know, I just fell in love with her, you know, you immediately fell in love with somebody because of their mind, they're out of their mind. Because the first thing you do is you have eyes that see, and what will attract me now, I have lots of people that I love their personalities, but I could not be in love with them because it's like a combination of two things. You know what I mean? And again, there comes the superficial part, because I'm a very visual person. I like attractive. Now that's what I'm saying. I don't expect a whole lot out of it, but you're asking me and I'm telling the truth, because I don't, you know, I am no big, great gift to anything, but this is what I have to work with. And, you know, and I've seen things, and I've seen some, you know, guys, and I go, holy crap. I said, she's friggin', you know, hot as hell. And, you know, and you look at the guy. Now, I'm not attracted to guys, so it's different for me as what a woman sees in a man. But, you know, so I still have faith in that, you know, you can find both roads. However, all that attractiveness does not last if you don't have a personality to go with it. In fact, it doesn't last at all. It could be, you know, if you're a bitch, you know, on the inside, and it's always, you know, it just doesn't work. And therefore, I don't care how beautiful you may be, it doesn't work. So it's got to be that combination. That's a tough one. You know, you only find that out by spending the time together. That work?
That's right. That's totally right. And that's the first thing that I would think too, because it's the same with girls. Girls have to have that attraction too. In like you say, it's superficial, but in the looks, I mean, it is.
Yeah,
lust is.
Lust is great. You know, I mean, I think it doesn't get any better than that. But long run, you know, can you hang with that person for weeks, months, years, decades? I give people a lot of credit. I just talked to a buddy of mine. He's been with the same girl for 32 years. He's my age. In fact, his birthday was same day, same age. We worked in bands together for years back in the old days. And you know, I said, you're really, really lucky, because they truly do love each other. And it's like, that's magic. And I wish that, because, you know, I don't think anybody wants to grow old and die alone. I really don't. And it's kind of sad, but it happens a lot. You get so used to being alone after a while that it's like, you know, screw it. You don't want to put up with anybody else's crap. And it's a lot of give and take. I'm you know, by no means anything perfect, but you know, I still have faith in you know, relationships. When my daughter was so little, I would not bring women around. Now I'll date, but I just haven't found anybody yet to knock my socks off. Then again, I'm not looking that hard. I'm so busy with this show. This is very important to me right now, because I need to reestablish myself. So it's been an ongoing quest. But, you know, I figured if something comes along, I'm not shy for it.
Well, and two, the pandemic has not been the time to be dating people, especially strangers. You know, you might go out. I guess there's nowhere to go really for a long time, at least a year now.
Yeah.
And then you certainly don't want to meet strangers. That's for sure. So it's been a bad time for all that, I think. But online dating, what's your opinion of online dating? Have you done any of that? Are you into that or?
Online dating, that could be a nightmare. That could be, I look, I've seen, I tried a little bit back many years, 5 years ago. So, cause I've been divorced since 2012, separated since 2009. And I've just been, again, maintaining. My daughter was my first concern. And then, if I had time to myself between working or this and that, I would, go out a little bit. But honestly, the online dating, you see pictures of somebody and then you see them in person, like that picture was from 11 years ago, and it's like, I don't understand people. I really don't. It's like, that's a shocker for me. It's a lot of trial and error. If you got the time and the money to do it, I guess, I've seen, there are successful cases in it, but it just wasn't for me. I mean, the whole reason I joined bands was for, to meet women. I mean, I didn't really care about the music so much.
It's okay. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty.
Yeah. It was, so long as there was sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I could have done without the rock and roll. I was fine. Yeah. I'm kidding. I love music.
Well,
I love music.
That is, and I know that it was plentiful at the time. That might have contributed to the reason that you waited so long to get married.
Easier introductions. Well, it was, but I don't get me wrong. Okay, I may be divorced, but I truly love the woman I married because I always saw the good in, there was good, but there were just underlying things that went on from even when we started dating, and I knew it. But, we got married anyway. And that's how, love, a friend of mine once stated, love is just a very, very powerful drug. It really is. I enjoyed her company. I like somebody that I can be around and not be tired of. And I think that's the key, and be attracted to. And you know what I mean? There's a certain attraction because, we all have our downtime and times when we're just not that great. I get it. But you got to try to not let it go. And again, easier said than done. But that's why everybody just says, screw it, I quit. Everybody's very 15 minutes nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of it's being selfish too, because people just bail. I mean, a lot of people work really hard at it, and it still doesn't work. That's for sure. But a lot of people just bail because they're so selfish. So, okay, we need to be attracted to each other. The next thing that I'm hearing that you're saying that you need to get along. You need to have some type of, maybe a lot of things in common. Simpatico. Maybe we need to have simpatico, which to me, that's like magic. That is the magic. If you have that you need to hang on to that one for dear life. What do you think about that?
Again,
have you had that with somebody?
Usually the ones I have it with are the crazy ones. And, could I be with them for a long time? No. I mean, there's these certain qualities of certain women and or men, I guess, I don't know. I can't speak for men. But there's these certain qualities. It's like, damn, it's like being with her, but could not be with her, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's always we always make the reference. It's always the crazies, you know what I mean? Or, but whatever, however it is, if you could find that perfect scenario, that perfect balance in talent, looks, personality, and all that kind of stuff, that's the jackpot. But, that's a tough one. Again, a lot of trial and error, I guess. I don't know.
It's also like we girls say the same thing. We're attracted to the bad boys. I mean, the poor nice guys, that saying, nice guys finish last. Sometimes they do. It's just funny because the girls always say, why am I attracted to the same guys every time? And it never works out. But the next thing, what about hobbies? Do you think it's important to have hobbies that you like to do together, or not really?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that everybody needs a little bit of independence. I don't like getting smothered, but then again, it depends who the person is. I mean, I thought when I got married, let me tell you something. The music business was starting to take a dump right about the time when I was going through all this hell. So I never thought I'd ever say I'd stop playing music, and I'm never going to stop playing, but I really did stop, thinking I'd get through this hell and then pick it up again, because I had to quit traveling. And the only way you can make any kind of money nowadays is touring. I mean, records are not there. And just to be clear, with the whole Toto thing, I used to do a lot of work for David Pace from Toto, but I didn't actually play with Toto. It's a big, just so we're clear, because I love those guys to death. We're all friends, but I didn't play with them. I was touring with them because I was going on the road with them to help them out, because when there was times when I was home, I'm in town, and they're doing these what we call one-offs, where they're doing like just 2 weeks, jumping off and doing like 6 different countries in 2 weeks, and they're going, why don't you come help us out, like with production and things like that. So that's what I did, because we were all friends, and it was just a way to hang together. But I did the studio stuff with David Pace and all his personal projects, and a artist by the name of Ger Ronning that I love to death, who's from Sweden, who I had the opportunity to work from, just so we get that clear. But
that's a big deal.
It is a big deal, but I mean, again, but those guys are the best of the best. I mean, the best of the best, and it's like you can't get finer musicians. And again, I'm very honored and thankful. How I ended up in that camp is a blessing. I mean, I've learned so much, but. It's and again on this show, I hope to take this show to a level to where I could have those guys and play with those guys on my own show, because Steve Lukather did a show for me, and even Greg Fillinganes found out and came on and did one of my shows. But the thing was, I wasn't set up in a large enough studio to say, hey, come on in and we'll do, and while you're here, we're going to do a little music. I would love to do that. And those are some of my aspirations and goals in the future, bring some music to something like this. But I forgot.
Yeah, and it'd be easy. I did too. Well, I think you're on your way. What I'm impressed about is being able to do all of it. The podcast, the Facebook, the YouTube, and all that. You're talented in the production part. That's a big deal. I definitely have not mastered that. If I didn't have Scott, it'd be terrible.
I have people too. Don't make no mistake. But this whole, we started out like the live shows. We started to conserve because to stop editing. I used to do a lot of pre-records. I had people, but it got really expensive. And and if I need them now with this whole COVID thing, it kind of forced me into not having people. And they go, look, and now we're figuring out how to do things remotely and things like that. But yes, I'm kind of handy, but I hate being techie. My sidekick Pepsi, he's like my Ed McMahon. But for years, I'd have him. And it was like Dumb and Dumber. He's behind the computer and the console and this and that, and I can't stand doing that stuff. I want to be right here, just focusing on trying to make a point or a ridiculous joke or something like that, because I like laughter. I think laughter really is very important. Unfortunately, sometimes it can't be that way all the time. But I'm not, but I am by myself now.
Well, that goes that goes back to our question about the dating and the what's your things that you're looking for, maybe possibly in your next spouse, because you did mention it, and I totally agree. I don't think people want to live alone, and it's not meant to be. I don't think God wanted us to live alone either. And so I think that people need that person, especially to live out the latter years of your life. You don't want to be alone and live the end of your life by yourself. I don't understand why anybody would want to do that. And I certainly want to get remarried, and I've been close to getting remarried once, and it did not happen. But I want to get remarried. I just think that that's how it's supposed to be, because I feel like a man, even more so for a man, I feel like men need women more than women need men, because I think women bring so much. This man's, and see, look, here I am, come from the woman's side, so you can contradict me if you want. But on New Year's Eve last year, I was actually in Vegas, and there was this older man. He was about 80 something, and he had a beautiful wife. And he said, this wife brings the life and the spark to my life. He said, you know what? I'm boring. He said, I'm a man. I'm boring. He said, all I want to do is, he said, if I had my way, I'd just eat and sit in the recliner and watch TV. He said, you know what? She makes me live. She makes me laugh.
Right.
She adds all of that and the excitement to my life. And I thought that was like the sweetest thing I've ever heard. What do you think about that? I was thinking,
again,
I agree.
Pros and cons. I don't think everybody feels that they need somebody. Some people just don't. Some people are a pain in the ass and they just don't want anybody, and they just happier. Look, I see a lot of people surrounding themselves with dogs and cats and, stuff like that. There's finding something to love. And look, I love animals. I really do. But I just find that, a lot of people give up on humanity and they go, you know what? I'd rather just be here with my dog. It's that unconditional love from a pet. And I think that's kind of sad too. But at the same time, I believe, look, I believe in a good woman. I think two heads are better than one. I do. But it's that finding that combination. I think a lot of women can make a man, but then again, I can make my own self. It's only icing on the cake. Like I can do it with you or I could do it without you. I don't have to have you, but I would like to have you. You know what I mean?
How many years were you married?
I was only married 5 or 6 years, but we were together 13 in total. We dated for a while. I mean, for quite a while. And finally, she's looking at me going, my family's kind of asking, like, what's the deal? And, you just time flies. I mean, I didn't do it intentionally, but it was just one of those deals that, like, life was okay. Things were going good, and we just kind of lived. But then she's kind of saying, like, and then I go, you know what? I guess so. I go, it's a shame on me because I'm a procrastinator when it comes to that kind of stuff, and only because it was just kind of we were just caught in the rat race of especially out here in LA and running, and I said okay,
yes,
and I thought we would, and I told myself I saw the music business starting to take a crap, and because nobody's making records anymore. I mostly was working for a lot of songwriters, a lot of guys who replacing drum machines and all their audition tracks and things like that. And in between, I was hustling. I had to work. I didn't make money all the time. You're on again, you're off again, whatever it took, and because it's expensive out here. And the whole thing is like, I'm going, it's like, okay, if we, maybe if we get married, I didn't care if we opened up. I thought I was going to do everything with this woman. Like we'd open up a business together. I didn't care if it was a yogurt shop, so long as we were happy. I go, you know what? I never thought I'd say I'd walk away completely from music, but I'm watching it getting harder and harder. Like the studio gigs were going away. The biggest drummers in LA were having to jump out back out onto the road, which they gave up years ago to stay home and make as much money, if not more, and working less hours and being home every night. And now they're jumping out on the road with One Dog Night. So who would you rather have? 40 gold platinum album drummer musician so-and-so or Peter what's-his-face? And so it was all about association, and plus they were even working cheaper just to work, so it was getting tough. But I believe in the collaboration. That's why I like bands. Collaboration of bands. I don't like being a solo artist. It's like even here, I wish I had Pepsi here more often to bounce off of. I like talking to somebody. I can sit here and I can talk a whole show by myself, which is not easy. I just heard Rush Limbaugh did 3 hours a day. God bless him, 5 days a week. But it's hard to talk to a dead camera with no audience. And the late night show hosts, when they had to take all their shows to their homes, they found that out real quick because they sucked at it. Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, they looked naked. They couldn't handle it. They got better at it, but they're still, considering they got millions of dollars, that's when you had to break out the talent.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah, that's tough. And he just did about the radio show. Every now and then I'll do it by myself, and I think, is this just boring stuff, or is this people really listen to this? So it's very difficult to get that information out there. And I'm leading up to this because my most listened show and most watched podcast so far has been about dating. And it's so funny, divorce and dating. Yeah. And because people are searching, I feel like they're searching for that. I actually listened to part of your podcast on the listen notes. Do you remember that? The listen notes, the podcast was early on.
Yeah, see, my bad. Somebody else picked up my podcast because we had a big problem with iTunes. And that's why I don't have any podcasts, any current ones going up there, because this COVID thing, we haven't gotten together to restream everything and restructure everything. But I found that listen, whoever they are, picked up all my older stuff. So there's a lot of that's when I was really talking about this stuff.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, because I thought it was very interesting, and I thought that was a really great podcast. And you were just giving advice on how you felt. And coming from the man, it's just so different, because women sit around and talk about it all the time. We wear it out. but men actually don't. They pretty much shy away from the subjects. And honestly, you're like the very first guy that I knew that had a podcast that would actually address it and talk about it and be honest about it. And so that's what one of my friends asked me, Nancy. She goes, I just want to know what's his advice, you know, as for both of you, the man and the woman. You're divorcing. You're fussing about everything. You know, you basically truly hate each other. I always say there's two different people, the one you married and the one you divorced. You basically really look and you hate each other. Yeah. But all that is for me, it was very short-lived. You know what I mean? It was very temporary, and I got past that, and I didn't hate anybody. Right. But for you and for the guy, I feel like guys, and this is what she said. She said she felt like the guys, and I feel the same way, hold the grudge much longer, maybe even forever.
I don't know. I honestly, I think it depends on the person. Look, both men and women can be a bitch. There's no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, it depends how you carry it. It depends how you move on. This is the problem I have. And again, shame on me for not continuing the podcast, because people love podcasts. They can listen to them in their car. I liked visual. Again, here's me with my visual, you know, stuff. I like camera. I like, you know, you can watching things. And all these shows should have been transferred to, and I'll talk about divorce and single parenting or surviving divorce or anything anybody wants to talk about on my live shows on Sunday nights. But I've been bringing guests on, and I've been kind of mixing it up. We kind of labeled the live Sunday night shows Life with Peter G. So anything you want to talk about, if it has to do with life, I'll talk about it. But the dating and things like that, and, you know, holding grudges and you know, I mean, it depends who you are. I hated the point when somebody would break up because mama had a new boyfriend or dad had a new girlfriend, and then they jump out of the marriage like it's going to be, you know, the grass isn't always greener. And then they go down that road and they already got something set up and they're already out. And all of a sudden, you know, dad or mom, whoever the one is breaking up the whole deal, is introducing the daddy's new girlfriend to the kids. And I've seen women do it too. In fact, years ago, the partner I had for this show, it was the Jim and Peter show for a very short time. The whole thing was based on because his wife jumped out and immediately got into a new relationship, and the kids were freaking out. They were little. All of a sudden, there's a new guy in his bathrobe at the house with mommy. You know, and it's like, that is a definite, you need to be kicked in the head and slapped, you know, for doing that stuff to your kids. I just can't handle that. The kids don't deserve it. And so that's how it all started.
I agree. You know, 100% on that. That's a great point, because I just remember saying this, and I've held true to this. I said, if my kids are, and I always want to point out, my kids are adults, but I still respect them so much, and they respect me so much, that I said, this person, if they ever meet a man, he will be the one. He won't be just if I go out with this guy this time or next time, right. They will never meet anybody like that. He will be the one, the special one that, and by the time they meet him, they don't get to have an opinion anymore. You know, mom already chose. So, and most of the time, or always, they respect my choice. But I feel like that is so important. I think that is a definite failure that people do. I know women that go out with someone twice in 1 week and two different people 1 week and bring them all home, meet all the kids. It's just like they don't know who's coming and going. Yeah. And it's just, it's very sad for the kids. So I think that's a great point. Mm-hmm.
When my child, I'm sorry, when my child, real quick, because this is important, because you have older kids. My daughter was very young and I thought it was going to be horrendous because she was so young. It turns out that I think I got lucky because my daughter was just 3 at the time, because she was, you know, you tend to lose a lot of that stuff. When your kids are older, and their brain is more developed, and you're breaking up a marriage after their lives are starting to get established in high school and this and that, and it's all of a sudden, it's like, you know, my parents are divorcing, they're screwing, you know, because now you're involved in their lives, or vice versa. I think that's even harder because they can think for themselves, and all they know is it's like mom and dad are just wrecking everything, you know.
That's right.
It's a tough one. I feel lucky because at least she was little and we kind of eased her into this, and now she's kind of, you know, she knows she's both loved by both of us, but it wasn't right in the middle of, you know, she's got to talk to her high school friends, and it's just tough as a kid. as if it isn't
It
tough
is,
enough.
and that's right. And it's hard on everybody. There's just no easy way to talk about it or handle it or do it. We all just do the best we can, don't we?
But it needs to be talked about.
It does.
Because
That's why I told you that's my most listened to show. I'm going to just put this plug in there real quick. And this is just a wonderful podcast that goes all over the United States. And so, I mean, you may want to put your podcast on that. I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to say that we'll talk about that after the show. But, I think, Peter, that you're the way that you express everything and so open. I think that people want to hear more from you, even more details, and even about your feelings. It's hard to talk about your feelings out there. Like most people say, I'm going to push it back. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to keep moving forward, which is not really good for your innards. I always call it your innards. I feel like people need to express that. What do? Do you kind of hide your feelings, well, sometimes when we talk about stuff, like sometimes when I give people a pep talk, I really don't even believe the stuff myself, but I just say it because I'm trying to make them feel better. How are you? Are you true to the advice? Or
again, I can only speak from experience. Now, I don't really give advice. Because this was a big deal when I was starting this show, and some producers were looking at me and going, I don't know, this is a tough subject. Oprah won't even touch this, and I'm going, well, maybe Oprah's got enough things going on that she doesn't need to talk about this. But, I find all these people, there's divorcing coaches now and divorcing well. It's like, who the hell divorces well? I mean, for every one good divorce, there's 90 million that are just the Titanics until people get a grip on what's going on and level out. But with me, you get what you get. I mean, my closest friends, and I'm very blessed. I think I have a lot of people I can call my friends, as opposed to some people who have nobody. And I unloaded on a handful that, they go, whatever you need, man. And it's just life. It's like, there's no shame in it. But yet people do feel that way. And I get it, but it's life. I mean, I'm not afraid to, I can bitch about something and do it in a fun kind of way, so to speak. Like, just because you got to let it out. I don't mind bitching about this or bitching about that because I don't actually mean it, but I do it for emphasis, if that makes sense, when I'm telling somebody something. Even swearing. I swear, I do swear, but I don't use it in a derogatory such way. But there's certain swear words that have like 3 or 4 different meanings depending on how you emphasize on it. And I just feel it's very colorful. You know what I'm saying when I'm saying it to you. So it's a big deal.
I do. I feel the same way. I think, because I always tell people, I say, if I cuss, it's usually I'm quoting somebody, or it makes the story better.
Yeah.
And it makes the point clearer.
Ask
it's
any
not
comedian.
Just because that's right. It's not just because I just cuss all the time. It's usually one of those 3 things.
Yeah. Keeps it interesting.
It does. And it does. It drives it home. It also, I'm just going to say this, it also makes you seem like a normal person. You know what I mean? It makes you feel.
Yeah, but I've gotten people that have, I've talked about, like on my show, I said, I swear a lot, and then somebody will, again, I have a amazing crowd of people who will watch the show but don't really make themselves present to the show, and they'll write to me during the week and this and that, and some people have said, I think cussing is a form of ignorance, things like that, and it's like, okay, that's your opinion. I said, but then I try to explain it, and I'm going, why? I can't explain it to everybody. I can't read everybody's and react and worry about that's their opinion. God bless them, and whatever. But if you think I'm ignorant, then that's your prerogative.
That's right, and you wouldn't be saying anything if you didn't have some criticism. So that's just what's going to happen. Some people that's what they do for fun.
Yeah.
Well, I want to skip over. We're going to talk. We'll carry on this later. I love it because I think it's so great for people, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this because I know that California, y'all are pretty much still in a lockdown. I know that you're getting your vaccines and stuff like that going, but you're pretty much in a lockdown still. And I tell you, it's very concerning to me. And I saw this story the other day on ABC, and this dad was on there, and his son had committed suicide. He was in a county just right outside of Chicago, and it was heartbreaking. His son was the star quarterback of the football team. He was a senior, of course, and hasn't been to school in over a year. And he was a senior, had 14 scholarships on the table to attend and play football. at any one of these 14 universities, he had a 4.7 GPA, a 34 on his ACT, 1470 something SAT. I mean, just unbelievable. And he showed a picture of his son. His son killed himself on January the 7th.
Right.
And he said, people, you have to know that what's going on. He said, we have lost 5 people to the COVID virus, and we've had 30 suicides in our county.
Exactly.
And, you know, and he said, these kids need to get in school. We need to get moving around. He said, my son was basically isolated from his friends, the sports he loved and everything. He said, you know, of course he didn't see it coming. He would have done something, but he said, I just feel like we have to move on. Now, with that being said, what is the feeling in California? Because I can't even imagine. It's bad what I see on television.
Cathy, I can't speak for all of California. I mean, I have such a close, tight circle. Like, again, with me, I don't have a problem. I mean, my daughter is my world. You know, yes, I am taking precautions, so to speak. I mean, but you don't really have a choice. I'm so busy. I'm not out running around anyway, but there are people that can't sit still. My father, I mean, he's passed away almost 2 years ago, but even at his age, at 91, 92, if his car had broken down for a day and I'm trying to get it repaired from 2,000 miles away, and he's like, when are they going to finish? And it's like, he was freaking out. He could not sit still. And he's going crazy. And there's a lot of people like that. And I don't understand it, because I am in complete contempt of being, you know, like in the house. And I always find things I have to do if I'm at home. And then there's this show, which is, you know, another full-time job. It's like, so I don't know, but I mean, it is a serious problem. California, again, now you want to start talking, you know, politics and all this crap, because I don't believe everything I hear, and I don't believe a lot of the stuff I hear. I'm not saying COVID is not real. It's real, but there's a lot of bullshit going on, and I'm just tired of it. I mean, you know, I think people do need to live, and I don't think the numbers are accurately correct, and I think there's a lot of stuff going on behind that. But again, that's a whole nother war of talking, because you got the people who are willing to talk about it, and then you got the people who are getting pissed off about what you're talking about and will cut you off just because they don't like what you're saying, but not willing to talk about their end to back anything up. So it's you know, but we're surviving here in California. It's just not good. I mean, the weather's great, you know, but whoop-de-doo. I mean, a lot of people are out in the parks walking and things like that. I'll tell you what, a lot more activity with people getting outside and just, you know, doing stuff because they're home. What else are you going to do?
Right. Well, it's the same everywhere. That's the same with the rumors and the theories and all this, everything. That's the same everywhere. It's the same here.
Sure.
But I feel such a need about this suicide thing, because the next story that was on there was this story about Las Vegas. The Clark County School District has, I think it's around 200,000 students, and it's huge. And so they said that they had, sorry, my dog, they had 18 suicides in the past few months of the kids, because they're not in school. No kids are in school. And they've had that many suicides in the past few months. And the youngest was a 3rd grader. And I thought, how does a 3rd grader, how does that happen? You know, and so anyway, I just felt like this is something that I'm going to start some research on, because I feel like 100% these kids need to be in school. And where I live, these kids have never missed a day. They have been going. They're successful with it. They do all the precautions. It's just unbelievable how they figured it out.
Yeah.
And I think some of it is just lockdown. But I was just going to get if you were familiar with that, because
yes and no. I mean, people have to do, there's certain people that are doing what they have to do, but it has, I mean, it's more about the poor restaurants and you know, first they, you know, you get outside dining, then they shut them down from that, and they spend $1 gazillion on plexiglass and all this crap, and it's all crap. It just doesn't make sense. And you know, we're going to Walmart and I'm at Costco, and it's, you know, and you're full of people, and people can't go into certain places. It's really very nitpicking as to, you know, who can survive and who can't survive in church and things like that. And it's sad, and we all know it's not fair. It's just not fair.
Yeah, I saw this one. This was a restaurant in California, and I thought this is ridiculous. So there was no indoor dining. So they had built an outside that looked like maybe a trailer or something. It was just temporary outside to say they had outside dining.
Right.
And the owner said, "Look at my beautiful restaurant in here." And it was beautiful. And he said, "It's totally empty, but we built this little shed out here and people can come sit in the shed and eat." He said, "It makes no sense." And I said, "I'm sorry, that was in New York. That was not in California. That was in New York."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "It just makes no sense." And then they showed the lady that her restaurant, she had to close it. She tried this is in California. She tried very hard to keep her, she's been all over the media, to keep her restaurant. She promised her employees, "We will stay open, we'll stay open." Then all of a sudden she said, "I'm sorry, but I can't." And so she closed. And a month later, she went back to do some things in the restaurant. And the whole parking lot, there were 200 people filming a movie or something, maybe a documentary. You saw that?
Yeah.
And they were feeding the 200 people outside all together. And she said,
again, we know it's wacky.
In her parking lot.
It's wacky. I know. That was here in L.A. That was in Sherman Oaks. That was in Sherman Oaks.
It was in Sherman Oaks.
Yeah, it was.
That's right.
I've been to that bar that she owned. Except I don't think she owned it. I haven't been in there in ages, but I used to go there with one of my friends from Toto years ago after we'd be doing some stuff, and we'd go into that. It was called Pineapple Hill, and I don't remember her being there. She was actually kind of cute. But I get it.
She was adorable, and she's been all over the TV stations, and she cried. I mean, her video went viral because she cried and said that she promised her employees going to stay open and get their paychecks, and then she had to let them all go.
It's horrible.
And then it's ridiculous. It just makes no sense.
Oh, it makes sense for a certain reason, but not for the right reasons.
Not for the normal reasons.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
There's an agenda.
Well, it's agenda. Everyone has their own agenda, and It's just been. I mean, it's been a bad deal. One thing that I continue to encourage my people. I'm actually a hairstylist. I do real estate. I'm a hairstylist. I could do a whole lot of different things, but I tell people all the time. After the Spanish flu became the Roaring 20s. So I hope that we're going to it will be the Roaring 21s for sure, because it's definitely not the 20s, or maybe be the Roaring 22s. But I hope that everything will bounce back and be better than ever. But gosh, it's going to take a whole lot of work, especially where I live. So
it remains to be seen. I can only hope. I mean, I just saw Aerosmith just push their tour to 2022 now. Everybody was hoping for 2021, from last year, and now it's 2022 because they can keep us shut down. I mean, I hear stories that this is going to be lingering till 2025. God only knows, and you can only hope that this isn't going to happen because something will get. I think people are going to get tired of this stuff. So we'll see.
Oh, I think it's happening.
Yeah.
In Las Vegas, I go to Las Vegas often. I love it. It's but a lot of the shows, the in-house shows, like even the in-house show at the Wynn, the LaRev show, it's their in-house show. Always been there. It's closed for good. There's just so many people that are not working.
Sure.
And that's why what you're doing right now. And I'm going to let you tell everyone about the ways that they can find you. But what you're doing right now is so popular. Everyone I know is sitting around listening and driving in the car, listening to podcasts and watching YouTubes. And it's just been what they do and what everyone's doing.
I kind of by fate or something landed in a place that while everybody else had to shut down, we were, because I unfortunately, as much as I would rather be on the bigger stages and this and that, because that was my goals and aspirations, still is. The thing was that at this current point in time, I don't think I could be much luckier that we're pretty self-sufficient and we're able to operate on this basis. So I never had to slow down. In fact, we've done nothing but kind of snowball.
Mm-hmm. It was perfect timing.
But not by me. I mean, it's just by the universe, I guess.
I always say that there's not coincidences. I call everything God incidences.
Yeah.
So there's always a plan, and your plan works very well.
Well,
okay. So I'm gonna finish with this one because sure enough, our time passes quickly. The other question that one of my girlfriends asked me, she said, what would be your number one advice to anybody soon after right before and soon after the divorce? And do you recommend marriage counseling? I had my own answer.
Again, I think I'm picking up from when you asked me something earlier when I was saying that, it depends on the person. Like some people already have a plan. They already got plans. So their life just goes from one thing to another, while another person's left holding, just standing in the middle of the road going, what the hell just happened? And not knowing where to pick up, and it costs money to be divorced. And I had a woman on my show. She's $500,000 into her child custody battle, and they're still not done arguing over who's going to get full custody, which is not going to happen. They're just going to, and yet you got some people that, $1,000, you might as well say it's $1 million that they need to get a lawyer just to do the legal paperwork. So everybody's pain is the same. You just add some zeros onto it, but it's not a pretty sight. It just really isn't. Now, some divorces need to be divorces. There's some things that, like, okay, this is really bad. You guys need to go. But again, if you have children, who gets caught in the middle? And that's really the most important thing. But I don't know, and it's always good to have somebody that you can lean on, but you find that a lot of times you start crying and even your own family doesn't want to hear your stuff. They get tired of it because that's you're just drowning in it. And they're going, oh God, here comes so-and-so. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to pick up the phone because she's just going to be bumming me out because they can't handle it. It takes a strong person to help a strong person,
That's exactly right. And you're so right. People get tired of hearing it. They don't want to hear it. It's just, it's a broken record. And you always think that everyone's talking about you, but really no one cares.
No, nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's your life, and you just think, and you see, and that's another thing. Your own mind can be your worst enemy. Because you're thinking too much. Nobody cares about anything. Look what's going on with the news or this and that. People are doing stuff, and it's like 2 days, 3 days later, it's like on to the next thing. Look, a squirrel. It's a lot. Yeah, but you only think. It's getting proven daily nowadays with all the crap that's going on and just getting swept under the rug, and nobody cares. Some people care, but not enough it's just not making a difference. So don't worry about it. But easier said than done. When you're telling somebody that's in that state, listen. And I remember my drum tech, a buddy, and he was looking at me going, because he was already divorced before me, and he says, I know it seems bad, but it's going to get better. And the question is just when. It depends how you're going to do, what you're going to do. I stayed single. I kind of created my own thing because I didn't know what I was going to do. This show just didn't pop up once it came to me several years later, and then it took several years to get off the ground. And then once I got it going, I'm still here working it. It's not like I could retire tomorrow. It's not there yet, but it wasn't overnight. And one day when things pick up and get better, it's going to look overnight, but nobody sees the 11 years behind it.
Absolutely right.
So
I always say everything's temporary. Even the good things are temporary, and the bad things are temporary too. You just gotta keep going.
My life was, I can't complain. I was never rich. I was comfortable or whatever, and I was happy. And to me, it's like now, it's like, Peter, what do you want? I want to just be comfortable and happy. I don't care about being rich. I like what I'm doing. And, sometimes you take these chances, and this is why the payoff is big in this business, because not everybody can do this. Yeah. But the thing is, I just, at the end of the day, I'm not doing it for the money. I need money. Don't get me wrong, but I need peace. I need peace within myself to be who I am, which really what you're looking at is who I am. I cannot be your average worker guy who just makes a paycheck and comes home. It's not me. It never has been since I was a child. I knew it.
You came back to that word, and I love that word. You said it earlier, is peace. And that's what everybody wants. It's what we all want.
It's important.
I think that it is. I know. And heck, I pray for it all the time. And I'm so glad that we've had this time together. And what my goal on my show is to promote people and what they're doing, entrepreneurs, to help people get their name out there. And I told you this. I know you're popular in California and those states out there, but you just hit the Midwest here and Arkansas. And people that
Hey.
have not heard about,
Hey.
people that have not heard about you. And I'm going to encourage the listeners and everyone to send you a message on Messenger. He will answer. He answered mine. And so send him a message. Get to know him. He's a normal person. He's a normal person. He's approachable. So I hope people will. I want you to tell us everywhere we can find you. And then I hope everyone will contact you and tell you how much they enjoyed it, and continue watching. You got a great show.
Well, thank you. As for being normal, it depends who you ask. Okay, I mean that's for sure. But yeah, listen, I can be found every Sunday night live on Facebook, YouTube. All you have to do is subscribe to YouTube at 8:30 Pacific, 10:30 Central, 11:30 on the East Coast. I know it's kind of late on a Sunday night, so for some, but even after the show is done, if you subscribe to the YouTube or the Facebooks or LinkedIn or Instagrams are only clips. You can't see the whole shows, but I do a live show like clockwork, as I said, and you can always pull it up and watch after. My shows actually do way better after the shows are done, where people can watch them at their own leisure. You can pull them up on demand. I mean, there's tons of them. And if you go into the older shows and you really want to talk about the divorce and single parenting stuff, the older shows are there. When I was really harping on that more, I'll talk about it anytime somebody wants to bring up the subject, but I've just been a little bit more diverse lately just because there's so much stuff going on, and I mean, I had a psychic card reader on a few weeks ago, but it was fun. It was for Valentine's Day, and she said,
I listened to it, and she said, you're going to get remarried.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but then again, but I said, well, when's that going to be? She says, well, I can't tell. Timeline is kind of hard. So there you go. Yes, maybe someday I will. We'll see. I'm not, but I have a good looking.
I have a good feeling about that.
Yeah, but you can find
Peter
me.
G, I'm going to thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a joy. I hope everyone looks you up, sends you a message, and gets to know you. And I'm glad that I am too. And let's do this again sometime, okay?
Listen, I'm easily approachable. I tell anybody if there's anything I can do within my realm to do anything, because I've had so much help in my past that I never forget. And so all you got, I'm just say the word. I mean, and we go from there. This wasn't that hard, was it?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to say bye to everybody, and I will talk to everybody next week, and I will be checking you out on Sunday night, Peter G.
Thank you, Cathy. I love you.
Thank you. Love you too. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Well, there you have it.
Great job.
There you have it. Different, right? I just thought it was kind of cool, taking it from a different approach. Cathy Nut, she does something different. She asks a lot of questions. She gets people to come in to ask questions, and there we were. I liked it. But you tell me. It was, like I said, it was a matinee show. Thankfully from the Cathy Nut Radio Show, who asked me to be on the show. So I hope you got something out of that. I'm not going to take up a whole lot of your time. Again, this show will be, you can grab it, watch it. I can't see any of the comments today for some reason, guys. So if you were commenting, I apologize, and I'll get to them in a little bit. But I just thought it'd be kind of fun just to throw this out a little extra. And I hope you enjoyed it, because she was asking me the questions. I mean, theoretically or typically it's stuff that I would say anyway if I was talking on a show about the subject myself, but she got to pick and choose and kind of pick some directions, and that was it. But I want to thank everybody, as always, for sticking with me. I want to see you Sunday night again. Prayers with Mr. Bob Paff, usually the last Sunday of the month. I do East Meets West with Bob Paff, Baltimore Bob Paff, but he's been sick with double pneumonia. I'm not thinking he's going to, he's been sick. So, I'm going to speak to him, but I'm not counting on it because he's probably not, it's no easy thing to kick. But one way or another, I'll either do the show myself or, I didn't even get to ask Cathy. I thought maybe I'd return the favor and bring her on for a little bit or something. Doesn't matter. Because she's interesting. I mean, she asked the right questions, and they're questions people want to hear. So it's just like, I could bring her on to see the after effects of the show after the show. How's that? Anyway, That's it. I invite you all Sunday night, every Sunday night, 8:30 Pacific, 10:30 Central, 11:30 on the East Coast, right here on Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show. Don't be a poddy pooper. I love you guys. Thank you all for listening and watching. I really got to get back on that podcast thing. She just really brought another valid point, but I know it, and then we get so busy and we keep on moving. But one thing for sure is I'm always right here, okay? Bring your friends. Share, people. The only way we're going to take this to a better level to where I can give you better things is if you, let's boost it up. Let's take it up a notch, all right? Again, for the people who happen to be around and available to watch, I appreciate it. I appreciate you logging in and doing it. Just share it because life is short, and you know, I don't know. There might actually be something, you know, that was worth. I'll find out pretty soon how we did. How do we do? All right, that's it. We're gonna call it a day, and I'll see you Sunday night, and we'll figure out what we're doing one day at a time. But I'll take it. All right, peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.